Hey everybody, this is the Aggressively Medium podcast with Lee and Josh.
Hot take is sectional couches like functional at all? You know, like
What?
sectional couches like this.
I thought you said sexual couches.
Is
Are
sex on
sexual couches functional at all?
Is sex
Yes, they
they
are.
is sex on
Episode
couches
61.
functional?
Here we go. Talking
Episode-
about sexual couches.
61.
61.
One episode a week.
Yeah.
So a little over a year.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Well, actually, a lot over a year, I guess. But a year and like 3 months. No,
My favorite couches are the
Year
leather
and 2 months.
couches.
This is, well, I don't think this is real leather, but sectional
remember-
couches, to answer your question, Zach, because I'm an adult
Yes,
and
sometimes
I have a family.
you are
and
an
we
adult.
know things.
You're-
I know
you're
things
very-
about couches.
You're very much so an adult, but when Riley comes around, I feel like your adultness goes down.
It's like, that's when I get to like be dumb again.
I bring
Like,
out the kid in everyone.
the thing that
How
best
did
describes
their brain
Riley.
cells just start dissipating.
The best thing that describes Riley is like with Pete Davidson saying about Logan Paul or Jake Paul, when Jake Paul was walking out and he said, "I wish I was that dumb so I could be that happy." That's Riley. Like, I wish I was as dumb as Riley so that I could be as happy as he is all the time.
Oh gosh.
I wonder if that's like a universal thing that all happy people are dumb.
Probably are.
I'm like like radiation. You can only be around me for so long before you've
Yeah.
got to get out of there.
Well,
You'll-
I'm
I
like
believe-
medium happy.
I believe the correlation's more so in a.
I've proven I'm smart though on this podcast with the "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?" questions.
Yeah.
And
That
what,
was,
what'd you score on your ACT?
I don't, 21.
Yeah, I scored 28.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. It's impressive.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. What do you want me?
I'm just saying I'm smarter than y'all give me
You want me to
credit
give you
for.
a plaque or something?
Episode.
Episode 61.
I'd like to ask a question.
Hold on. Let's get to the intro first.
Well, part of the intro
Okay.
is when y'all first started, y'all said y'all were going to keep this podcast going for as long as y'all didn't surpass the viewership
That's
in
what
the
Lee said.
episodes.
Yeah.
Have y'all surpassed that yet? Or?
We have.
Oh no.
We have. We're at about like 50 people per week.
Y'all need a boost.
We do need a boost. We don't do anything to promote the podcast though.
Yeah, true.
I've heard the most viewed episodes are when Riley's on here for some reason.
When both of y'all are on here.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
Yeah.
that.
So
Thanks for that little.
People come on
confidence boost.
when they hear I'm on there. They're
okay,
just like,
so
what are we going to get
episode
into?
61. Here we go. We got Riley and Zach from Blends. They've been on the podcast a couple of times. If you're just now, like this is your first deep dive into the podcast.
Delp.
Your first
delp.
French onion dip into the podcast.
Yeah, your French onion dip into the podcast. These guys are on a food truck. Tell us a little bit about it and update us on where you guys are now. Because some things have changed in the past.
Yeah, we've been
However
hard
long.
at work while you've been sitting around filming podcasts for 50 people.
Somebody's got to do it.
Well, we sell smoothie bowls in Acai. We're called Blends, and we set up on the University of Alabama's campus.
And
But-
also,
Yeah, and I think the last time we were on here, we were talking about we were going to open at Ole Miss, but I don't know if we had actually done that yet. But yeah, we've been open at Ole Miss for since January now, a truck and a store on campus. And now at the University of Alabama, we're going to have a truck and store on campus as well. So we'll have 4 different locations rolling into August. And hopefully we've got one more in the works, but we won't say
so where's
that
the
till it's done.
location here in town?
Well, there's not one in town. It's on campus.
Okay.
It's at the
Is that not in
Ferguson
the
Center.
town though?
Yeah, well,
it's not in
yeah.
the town of Tuscaloosa.
No, it's on university, which is an entirely different thing.
Okay. So Zach, do you want to tell us about the new location since Riley's being difficult?
Well, I mean, the Oxford location, yeah, we started it back in January. And really that was just kind of, I mean, we have a good product. We have a good team behind it, and someone presented us with a new opportunity to expand. And we were just in a really good position to, take on all that new responsibility and those, all that new stuff that we had never done before. So we went over to Oxford, kind of got everything set up at the late part of 2020. And then the whole first about probably 3 to 4 months of January, February, March, and April was a lot of like just getting everything set in line and a lot of the behind the scenes business stuff to get things running to where you can take your hand off of it and you don't have to be there every day. So Riley and I kind of transplanted over there to Oxford, Mississippi for a couple months and got with the team there and really hammered down the way that things were going to be done over there. And we've seen a lot of success and it's been received very well by a lot of the students there at Oxford or at Ole Miss and a lot of the public there at Oxford. And it's been a really welcoming, they've worked very well with us at Ole Miss. So it's been really, really fun to do that.
Nice. And then y'all are opening up a physical location here.
Yeah. So we're, again, another opportunity that was presented to us and we were just in a really good position to take advantage of that opportunity was, Bama Dining or the University of Alabama, however you want to say it, was interested in bringing some local businesses in to the Ferguson Center, which is basically the student food court, the main student food court at the University of Alabama. And they presented us with an opportunity to move in there and see how things would go. So that'll be opening actually next week for some summer orientations and summer semesters. So we'll kind of get our hands on that and see how that plays out. But yeah, we'll be opening, we'll be like, I guess that'll be kind of more of a soft opening, and the big opening will be once class starts back in August. So that'll be really fun to give the students a different way to experience blends through a storefront instead of a food truck.
Yeah. So if you're not on campus and you want some blends, you're going to have to go to the parking deck.
You got to come find us, man.
Yeah, come drive. Well, a lot of people don't realize that wherever really it's frowned upon, but you could pull your vehicle up to where a truck's parked and
throw those flashers on
and just get out, grab a bowl real quick, and get out of there. And the Ferg too has like whole like you can pay to park for like, and I think like 30 minutes is free or something like that. So people can come park by the Ferg and then come have a bowl and then sit in the Ferg and like just feel like you're in college again.
Yeah, that's something I don't want to do.
Feel like you're in college again.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, it's.
Yeah. I was not a fan of the college life, but
yeah, it's been good expanding and everything, and hoping to continue to expand. We've got a system figured out, I think, now that makes things easier for us, and
it's been really weird though, like with kind of like. So like our schedule and the way that we work really, or our busiest times goes off when students are in school. So like the college semesters. So like the end of the semester of like spring semesters when, this new location and a lot of the correspondence that we have are like kind of toning things down and they're getting ready for kind of their summer vacation or their like 3 to 4 week break. And that's kind of when we're trying to like do stuff, so it's kind of tough to get a lot of things done when a lot of the people that we're relying on to do those things are also like in their jobs kind of taking time off. So it's been a really kind of difficult the past like 3 to 4 months, or not months, but weeks, because it's been such a delayed response between people. It's like you email someone or you call someone, they don't respond for a couple of days and you just kind of get real frustrated.
That is frustrating part about business. It's like
so frustrating.
I just show up to people's offices. They get so upset about it. But like
that's where like we were talking with someone the other day, and us being young, it's kind of like expected for us to have a high energy and like really go getter attitude. So like that's where I was kind of like nervous because like we will literally call you and leave voicemails and text you and email you until you pick up or you respond. And then like in the early stages, we were running to offices, showing up at people's doors, like trying to get stuff done, which is so different than like your corporate jobs or your 8 to 5s, your 9 to 5 type jobs where literally things move so slow.
Yeah. I feel like that's what you have to do. Like when you own your own business and you're trying to make things happen there, that's like, and I guess we build this as like partially a small business podcast and then barely ever talk about small business stuff. But
bring on the questions. I love talking about it.
But like, I mean, honestly, if you're starting out and you're not getting responses from people, or you're not if you're emailing the city about some license or about some inspection or something, freaking show up at their doorstep and like be like, hey, it's me. I'm here for this. Like,
and honestly,
let's make it happen.
If one person tells you no, there's always going to be like, if you're persistent enough, and persistent enough, I mean by like not being like, you know, a jackass or being annoying or anything. It's like, don't take no for an answer if you really believe in it and you really want to do it, because there's always a way around that closed door when you're talking about business and stuff like that. And like, that's something that we've seen a lot, is like a lot of people in the same offices dealing with like city and like licenses and permits and stuff like that. A lot of people won't even know the same things. Yeah. So it's like, you go to one person, they tell you one thing, the next day is their off day. You come back and the person in their place tells you an entirely different thing. Yeah. But I mean, it is definitely like early stages to get the ball rolling, is like you have to like knock down doors instead of like waiting on someone to open them. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. If you want to make stuff happen, make stuff happen. Yeah, that's the biggest. Like I've had people like come to me and, you know, they're like, hey, I'm gonna start a business, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. I'm like, all right, let's start it then. Like, do it, and then I'll like contact them like a week or 2 weeks later and be like, hey, where you at on that? And like those people are probably coming from their 8 to 5 job or 9 to 5 job where they're not used to that. And it's like, that's the hardest thing to explain and describe to someone that doesn't have experience doing like this type of stuff, is like, you can go sit in an office and respond to some emails, do some tasks that someone else tells you to do. Yeah. Basically, they tell you what to do. They give you a checklist and you do that. You're going to collect your paycheck every other week or every week. And it's just as simple and easy as that. Yeah, it might be a struggle to come up with new ideas or something like that, but like, you're still going to get that paycheck. If like people like us that, you know, our income depends on like what we do. If we don't make new decisions, or like if I woke up today and I was like, I don't want to respond to that email, eventually that's going to like backfire, and it's not going to like, it's going to result in me not getting paid pretty much. Well, and like, I'll contact those people and say, hey, you know, where are you at on this? What's going on? Like, weren't you, you know, going to set up a social media page for it or something? Like, oh, well, I talked to this photographer and they're, you know, they can't get me in until whenever, or they haven't responded back or whatever. It's like, do you have an iPhone? Yeah. Then like start taking pictures. Like, you don't have to have the fanciest setup to like get you started. Like, you don't have to have like the most expensive rig to get you started. Like, if you want to get started doing something and you want to like prove like market equity, or you want to prove like that there's a customer base out there for you, then like just start doing something. Yeah. Like, it's frustrating when people are like, I want to start a business, and then you talk to them 6 months later and they're like, oh, well, you know, it didn't seem like it was getting off the ground. It's like, well, if I know you and I haven't heard anything about it, then like, you're not doing something right. Like, you've got to get out there and do stuff and make stuff happen, post on social media, do a TikTok dance or something. I don't know. I don't think it gets easier though either, because I mean, like, after having the experience of like,
your problems get bigger.
Like for me personally, it's like, all right, looking back at it when we started Blends, I was like, I don't know if you basically made me start a new business right now. I think the thing that made it so easy then, I mean, not easy, but like that I got through it, was like, I didn't really have much to lose. Yeah. Like, now, if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, start this new business with me, blah, 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 like, I'm going to want them to take on a lot of that responsibility. And like, if they're really wanting to do it, I want to see that from them. Because like, me to like take all my attention away from this proven business to go start something by myself, like, you know, that's not proven. It's so difficult to just say like, like turn the switch and be like, let's go do it. Or like put full effort into it. 'Cause you have so much to risk and so much to lose at that point. Yeah. It's definitely like a really hard decision.
Like, I was talking to Riley the other day about a new business, and he didn't want to start it with me. It's like, we're going to do an app where you have like, you and your friends like get together and decide you want to go to this place or this place, and everybody has to swipe right or left.
Yeah. That'd be really cool.
That's not how it worked at all.
That'd be a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Hey,
Riley had a really cool app. Or has or had?
nah, I sold it.
Oh, you sold it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I sold it for $3,000
Dang, okay.
back to my developer. Guy developed it for me and then came back and bought it. But yeah, it was a good app. I made some good money from it. I had a lot of fun with it.
That's like,
We had a ton of fun with it.
I've had like 2 or 3 businesses that I've started, and it's
On-
you just like you learn those like small things that you do along the way help you learn to like maneuver the other businesses that you like. To me, like a business that you start and doesn't like really take off the ground or doesn't do what you want it to do isn't necessarily like a failure. It's more of like an opportunity to learn like what to do the next time.
Yeah.
But
I think like you were saying, the thing like getting something, I don't know, like how you were basically saying, just like go and like start learning, you know, like do something so that you can learn from that. As far as like starting a new business, I think that's the biggest key to it right there, is like if you have this idea and it's nothing more than an idea until you actually move on something.
yeah.
And I don't think it's actually a business until you return a profit from it. I mean, like, or not return a profit, but like make a sale or make a transaction or a deal or something like that. And I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there that say they've started businesses, and in my opinion, no, you really didn't. You just had an idea that you worked on.
Yeah. Yeah. That plus what I hear from a lot of people is like, oh, I don't have the money to start it. It's like, bro, a business, if you have a business and you go to a bank, they'll probably give you some money.
Yeah.
Like it might not be the money that you want, or hey, you might have to put your truck up for collateral.
Yeah.
Or you might have to like,
There's ways to get things done.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But to me, the people that don't do well in business are the people that like once they come up against an adversity, they're like, oh well,
Yeah.
wasn't meant
It's like,
to be.
It can't be. Yeah.
Like this is God telling me not to do it.
Yeah.
Like no, it's just you came up to your first like wall and you're like,
Yeah.
can't do it.
There's always like someone that's either gonna. I mean, even if you wanted to bring on a partner, there's always gonna be some way to get something done.
I mean, yeah, owning a business is like being a salesman. I mean, you get way more no's than yeses. You just have
absolutely.
to know how to, bounce back from those. And even when someone tells you, like, for us, it's, an example is how we expand is we just start calling a bunch of schools.
Yeah.
That seems like a good place to have a blends. And, you call 15 schools and 2 of them are like give you a chance to, pitch.
yeah.
And then, but
Like
also
Stillman, you guys talk to Stillman.
You
You guys
Stillman,
talk to
you get Wallace State.
MTSU, Middle Tennessee. Yeah.
But and then like the places that still tell you no. And then even like, when you're going and getting paperwork and stuff done, it's just like you never want to burn any bridges with anyone, and how you react to when they tell you something you don't want to hear. You've got to still
Yeah.
be
You
a
got to
good
make that
image for them. Whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's, I mean, like you were saying, like if you're starting a new business, like it pretty much is like you're a salesperson.
Yeah,
like because you've got to like sell the other people that you know, or the other people that you're trying to sell to on this idea that you've created. That like, let's like kind of be honest, like there's nothing new under the sun. Like the old phrase goes, like you guys aren't doing anything different
than someone else has done in the past.
Lee's not doing anything different. I'm not doing anything different. It's just like somebody told me this, like if you're starting a business, like most of the time you're selling the other people on you.
Yeah.
Like you're selling them on like, well, I'm going to get it done. Like I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to be selling you this product for a while. I'm not going to give up on it. But yeah, if you're not good at sales, you're gonna have to like get real good. Or just people
you just
feel
have to
sorry for
in
you.
what you're talking about. I mean, go back to 2018 when me and Zach walked into Bama Dining's office, and we're like, "Hey, we want to open a food truck on campus, and we're gonna sell smoothies." And they took a huge leap of faith with us. But I mean, it was just we were young and well, we still are young, but we were very young.
You're
But we were
getting
just
there.
a higher, high,
Yeah.
we believed in everything.
Y'all aren't as young anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
the
getting
Getting there.
And the cool thing too about you saying you really need to be a salesperson is like, if you're not, literally go find someone who is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a salesperson. Riley is.
Yeah.
Like, it's a perfect, like, I think partnerships make businesses go so much faster.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like literally two hands can do more than one,
Yeah.
type that analogy or whatever. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, that's the hardest thing too, is like finding someone that's going to be able to put in the same amount of effort and stuff like that. Finding
Yeah.
a partnership that really works. And that's where Riley and I have been extremely like lucky
Yeah.
and blessed to have been able to like form our partnership and everything. And
I agree. I've said this numerous times that like I'm not going in business by myself ever again.
I don't think, to me, it's like way too much.
Oh, there's so much
Just too
crap.
much.
Yeah, there's so much that, and like,
Yeah.
but the hard part is like, because I've had partnerships before where it's like the other person doesn't put in as much work as you, or the other person just doesn't care as much, or they get like tied up with something else, or like what really sucks is when you get involved with somebody who's like a visionary, where they're like they sell you on your idea so much, but then like 2 months later, they've moved on to the next idea. Like they're not like committed to the idea as much as you are, but like finding a good business partner is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what's so important, and it's basically marrying someone. I mean, you've got to really. I mean, me and Zach, we only knew each other for about a year, I guess. But I mean, but even like go back to What's the Move, the app, like that was the first business thing that we kind of did together, because Zach did all my graphics and designs and stuff that were on the app, and and that's when we really started talking about business and everything. And but yeah, it's so important to have. You almost need someone that's opposite of you.
Yeah.
Because like the things that Zach does with the business, like if it was left to me, it just probably wouldn't get done, because I would forget about it.
Well, and
honestly,
what you said about like it being a mirror, like you're marrying somebody, like that's completely true. And like, but the thing that nobody tells you about getting married is like there's a lot of things that like you thought you liked about this person that like you don't really like once you like get into this like deep committed relationship. And business is the same way. Like once you get into like this business relationship with somebody, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that like you thought you liked about the other person. That's like, nope, this is not. But you've also got to like, most of the time those are like their strengths.
Relationship together. So
most of the time the thing that you don't like is probably their strength that like you're not good at.
Yeah, it makes a lot of
So
sense.
you have to rely on them for that stuff.
It makes a lot of sense.
yeah, I guess it's just like marriage. Once you jump into it, it's like the first hiccup. You don't just separate. It's you work through
some
it.
people.
Yeah. Marriage.
Marriage. Speaking of relationships,
Oh, that's one. That's one spanking.
speaking of relationships, Lee is my partner on this podcast. My relationship.
No way. Lee
Yeah.
Decker.
Yeah, Lee Decker.
What a guy.
He's having a baby.
That's
He's having a
one
baby,
forever.
and somebody mentioned that we should name his baby on the podcast
Yeah.
because we haven't heard his
we-
baby's name yet.
Is
Do
it
we
boy
know
or
if-
girl?
Yeah, do we
Yeah,
know?
I'm pretty sure it's a girl.
Okay.
Okay, female names.
Female names.
But he has to pick one of these.
Bro,
oh, for sure. This is the name. This is it.
I really think they're probably going to, like, I just thought of this, but I really think they're probably going to name her Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Carolina and Georgia.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
could really see
Georgia.
I would say Reef or Reese. Reese. Reese.
Reese. Reese is a boy's name.
No, it's
or
not.
a dog name.
Reese is good for a little girl. Reese.
I saw
Reese
something.
Decker.
I heard
I've
something
seen
the other
that.
day.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
I heard something the other day that is people are now naming their dogs normal names and then naming their kids what we would like dog names like back in the day.
Oh, my dog's name's Parker, so yeah, I understand
There you go.
that.
Yeah.
It's just Harley, so I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn.
And then now you have names like Brixton.
Brixton. Yeah. Brixton.
I always
Fido.
crack up at like from Coleman. There's so many like country like names that are like they're just spelled weird. It's like you know what I'm saying. It's like Braxton, but it's spelled Braextion.
What's bad about that, or the people that are bad about that, are Cajuns. Because it'll be Drew, but it'll be like Dreaux. Yeah. I'm like, that is not Drew. That's Drew.
Old Dro.
What do you think? Like, what do you think? Like names or play any kind of effect in some like?
Absolutely not.
But like, so like, if names weren't a thing and it was just like, hey, you're 12, you're
I appreciate
82,
that.
and I'm like 64.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know like names obviously originated at the beginning of time and everything, and they used to have a lot more meaning and stuff like that. But
yeah. Well, back in the day, like you would name your baby because of like what you wanted them to be, or like what you like thought God had for their lives or whatever. But like
now it's just like whatever.
Yeah. Now it's just like, oh,
Just
this
Google
is cool.
cool
Yeah.
names.
Yeah, and like back then, I guarantee, or I would like feel very confident that those names that those people were given like actually had an effect on how they either thought about themselves, lived their lives,
Probably
or like
so.
the outcomes.
Yeah, because like your parents would probably like push that stuff on you too.
Yeah.
Though it's like,
Yeah,
your name is this because we thought when you were born, or God told us when you were born this. Well, like my name's Joshua, and then my little brother's name's Caleb, and so there was like the little biblical reference
Yeah.
there.
I think that's.
I
didn't know
obviously
you
have
had a
like
brother.
led people out of Israel. So
What if you had to just go by your social security number? Like, what's yours, Josh? What would yours be?
I think everyone should have like an. Well, never mind. That's kind of stupid. I was gonna say everyone should have an ID tag, but that's like
yeah, kind of like the Antichrist wants to do. That's a good plan.
it's like a barcode
yeah.
right here.
Good plan.
A
Hey,
barcode.
you could use
Yeah.
it to
I'm
buy,
not doing
buy
it, but good
you
plan.
You
That's
could use
what
it to
the,
buy and sell goods.
That's what the whole. That's what Bitcoin is, bro.
That's what Bitcoin is.
Swear.
You got your own.
I swear.
Hey.
Bitcoin
Maybe
is
so.
not
I see that coming.
Speaking of
it's
Bitcoin,
crashing, so it's not going to make it much longer.
I don't know anything about cryptocurrency. I've
Which is
literally
upsetting.
tried to learn so much about cryptocurrency, and
yeah,
it doesn't. Well, I did listen to a podcast from, or not a podcast, but like a clip from Gary Vee talking about the NFT structure around Bitcoin. That made more sense to me than Bitcoin does.
I feel like the more research I do on cryptocurrency, the less I know about it. Like I'm just like, oh, nope, doesn't make sense. The thing that I thought it was doesn't make
You
sense.
go to the root of it. It's a decentralized currency that was used to buy and sell goods that the dollar can't buy and sell, basically.
Yeah. Well,
so it would
that's
be
what
like,
it was originally, but now it's
yeah.
like all this like a lot of them are based on products that you can use,
do
which
you
doesn't
mean?
make
What do you
any
mean?
sense to me.
What do you mean?
Somebody starts a coin based on their product that they want to create.
So like you can only use that coin to buy that product, type thing.
Riley,
I
have no idea.
I don't know what you mean there.
So like Bitcoin is basically like the Forex market or foreign exchange market used to be a really big thing with like basically I see that was like it went from Forex to Bitcoin, and basically Forex was like, hey, I have $1 American and it gets me this much of a Japanese dollar or whatever. So basically I would take my American dollar, go buy Japanese dollars, and then I could buy Japanese goods. Correct? Like that that the American dollar could not buy. So now
I think
Bitcoin
originally,
now Bitcoin or like Bitcoin was intended to like break that whole stigma.
I mean, Bitcoin initially was created for like black market goods. Like you could buy like drugs and guns and all kind of other stuff on the internet before. Like it was a way that you could do that stuff and not be traced
since like the 90s, I think.
I think it was more like the 2000s.
Yeah, probably.
But like I remember when people first started mining Bitcoins, and it was like a big deal.
Like, I don't see how it's any different than, like, my Visa credit card can go buy stuff in China.
Yeah.
The
like,
big
via
thing
the
is
website.
the decentralized word. That's what people like because they feel like, the government can't take it and stuff or whatever.
Well, so
But which Bitcoin is not decentralized. It's the most centralized coin.
now it is.
Now it is.
Yeah.
And banks are taking it.
I think the
and all this
crazy thing
stuff.
though is
the
like
altcoins are the ones that are
all
like,
these people talking about, Bitcoin, I want it to be decentralized. I want this, I want that. Like the government can't track it. Like there's a freaking good reason most of the time that the government like
Needs
has
to-
like taxes. Like if we
Yes.
didn't pay our taxes, we'd be driving around on dirt roads with like
Yes.
potholes all in it. And
Yes.
like
I mean, I think there's things and principles and stuff, like certain areas that Bitcoin was created to change. I think some of those things are good and could be changed. I don't know what all of those are. I'd have to probably like really
Do some
think about
research.
that. I'd have to think about that, but like I do think it would be beneficial if the entire world was on the same currency somehow. But then I don't see how,
like the Antichrist.
well, no, like then I don't see how
Bro,
you could
that's
value.
not the Antichrist.
I don't see how you could then like create the value of it
Yeah. Well,
or determine what it is worth, because that's where like different markets have their, like a cookie or a tea cake in Europe or Great Britain is worth more than it is here because like we don't value that as much as they do.
yeah. Well, I mean, it would be the exact same thing as it is now, except it would just be like whatever region you're in, that product would cost more money. I mean, that happens now with like even like look at Alaska. Like a large pizza from Domino's in Alaska will cost you like $30 or $40
Yeah.
because they have to fly all those goods in.
Yeah. Or like
To get
the
there.
Hawaii stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like they're still on the American dollar, but their products are valued more because of like the effort or whatever that
Yeah.
it takes. Or, I mean, sometimes it's
And
just,
that's just like common sense on like how economics works.
yeah. I just, Riley is cracking me up.
What?
Because
How?
he's just like,
Well, I thought I heard
it's like
something
a freaking
over there.
woodpecker. It's just like,
Now I had so many good things to say, and now I lost my train of thought.
No, I mean, I'm upset with Bitcoin right now because I saw it as an opportunity. I saw it like investing in gold or silver. It was appreciating, and there's people I've met that have been trading Bitcoin for a while that were like, get in now because it's going to hit 100K
yeah.
before the end of the year. So I'm like, oh, I can just, get an appreciation on my investment. And then Elon Musk said that it hurts the environment.
Well, it
And-
does.
Well, like, that's the thing is
it
it's
takes
not
so
it's
much power.
It's not real either. Like
Well,
it's literally not real.
The
I mean, if you- but
computers hurt the environment,
Yeah.
but his jet engines don't. That's my thing.
Not more.
No, that's
than-
not true.
Than the Bitcoining mining
That's
machine.
not true. Pull that up. That is just a fact you pulled out of
His
Sacramento.
one singular jet.
No, how much rocket fuel is he burning when he shoots that thing up in the air and it comes back down?
So
and
what
lands?
should we do instead of rockets to get to outer space?
Stay on Earth?
What about satellites?
Maybe just protect the Earth from UFOs.
Bitcoin though is like there's no. I don't think there's any. Like there's really, to me, the craze over it is everyone's like trying to make a dollar, trying to get rich quick.
Yeah, I think
And-
that's part of what's happening
Yeah.
right now. Is people are trading it like a stock instead of trading it like a currency.
It's like that
Yeah.
Forex deal. You're like trading this much for it for that much for it. That way that you can sell it when it's a higher value
Yeah.
as opposed to a lesser value.
Absolutely. And
Which I
that's-
don't think anything's wrong with that in sense. Because
How many? Here would be my question: is like how many people are actually using it as a currency?
nobody.
Well,
Like who's buying and selling?
anyone
goods?
on like Robinhood or Coinbase or any of that, like you don't actually own it. You're just leveraging the price of this.
Yeah.
It's like a stock. You're just leveraging the price.
But that's the majority of people right now.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I own most of my like Bitcoin and stuff on Robinhood because all I saw was I want to buy low and sell high, and
Yeah.
I was doing good. I was up like over $1,000 until like last week when Elon tweeted.
Yeah.
But then all
Well,
my I've got a few altcoins that I have in an actual wallet that could actually like.
Well, here's the thing
I
about,
own the coins.
about Bitcoin and Tesla is the entire time they said this is for short term yields. That was never a long term hold for them. They were doing exactly what you're doing, except on a larger scale. They're buying $1 billion of it and then selling it for $2 billion. Like they're just making money off of it, just like you are. Like
they made more money off selling their Bitcoin than they did selling cars in 2021 or in 2020.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
Yeah, they've sold more regulatory credits and made more money than they have selling cars.
And they'll probably have to pay taxes on that, right?
Yeah,
On
it's
the
actually
Bitcoin
really
stuff?
bad.
Yeah.
It's a 40% tax.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about capital gains on that stuff.
There's
Because it depends on.
but there's another one for like cryptocurrency itself.
So most people
I was reading about that.
will say something about capital gains tax, and this is something that I talked to an accountant the other day that I didn't realize that your capital gains tax is just based on whatever your tax bracket is. So like capital gains for if you're in the 22% tax bracket, it's just used as taxable income. It's a capital gains tax, but you're just paying your taxes on what would be considered an income on that. So if I made $100,000 in whatever trading or something like that, they would just tax me at that 22% tax rate. That like as long as you're under $400,000
Really?
a year.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I thought it was like 50% or 40%
I haven't gotten
or
enough
something
money
crazy.
to where I know all that
I
stuff
don't
yet.
know. I know a guy that sold a couple businesses a few years ago, and he got hit with it pretty bad.
What's the move?
No, government don't know about that.
What about so, like on the topic of like all futuristic things? Y'all heard like what do y'all think about the NFT stuff?
I think it's a bunch of malarkey. Like
Well-
I want if I'm buying something, and this goes for anything. Like if I'm buying something, I want the physical.
Yes.
I don't want the digital. I want the physical. Because if something happens to my account or whatever, I want to make sure that I still am able to access whatever that is.
Like something that has value of it or value to it.
Yeah.
So like I mean
I think NFTs is just a way for influencers and celebrities to make an
Well,
outrageous.
it's a way
right.
for like artists to make money for.
so I heard that. So like I get that. I get that's basically a trading card but virtual. But I listened to a podcast of Gary Vee talking about NFTs and like the future of NFTs. And basically, he was explaining NFTs as a very secure file folder, basically. Basically, he's like every real estate transaction, every bank transaction, every kind of like when you need papers and documents and stuff, that's going to be transferred through NFT wallets and stuff like that. Which in my mind, I was like, okay, that makes more sense than.
So it's just like a Google Drive, but,
But-
like super
But that's what I
secure.
thought. That was
Yeah.
like, okay, what's the difference between that and a Google Drive? And I was like, I mean, it kind of makes sense to me that like that's how everything could push
Yeah.
forward into the future. But like, I don't think it's any like when you look
I
at
don't
it
think it's
as
that valuable though. Like it's
I
like
don't know how it's
Yeah,
values
no, that's what
and
I'm saying. But
the
like
whole-
it's like I get that it would make things a lot
I
easier.
think they're two different things. I think like
Yeah.
the Jake Paul NFT
Yeah.
robot GIF or whatever is different than what Gary Vee was talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
But I also think there's some kind of link between the two that I don't really know enough information on.
But Gary's also selling it. He's selling his NFTs for Ethereum. I saw the other day you could buy like some of his NFT artworks
If
for
there's
3 to
anyone-
4 Ethereum.
If there's anyone that knows what they're doing, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Good lord.
But here's the thing: is like you're saying, like the more that I find out about stuff, the more that it just confuses me.
Yeah.
Like the NFT stuff, like the more that I do research on it, and then I hear like some piece of like contradicting like information, I'm like, well, I thought I knew what it was, but like I feel like you've got to be so deep into that stuff, and like that's all you do in research to like truly understand it.
When was the last time that something new like cryptocurrency or NFTs or something like that? Both of those are digital things that are not physically presentable.
Yeah.
When was the last time something new like that caught on and someone like people actually knew what they were talking about? I think all this is kind of like a little, you know, like a
Ponzi
scheme type thing for
I
a
could
lot of
see
people.
that.
Like a lot of one person's probably like, okay, let's see how many people I can get on this. That way I can make the most money.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of people that make money off of it as well. but the whole idea of it is just for one person to profit.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's like all the little like altcoins and stuff, like the Safe Moon, the Dogecoin, like all that stuff. It's like all that stuff's like purely based on one person's trying to make a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. And as soon as it hits whatever, like that's the Barstool guy, Portnoy, came out today and said he was like backing Safe Moon. He was like, "This is my cryptocurrency," but he was like, "I don't know what it is.
Is Safe Moon
I don't know
like
what
its
it
own
does.
little thing now
It's
too?
an altcoin.
It's like
What's an
Dogecoin.
altcoin?
It's like the smaller coins. It's not Bitcoin. It's not Ethereum.
It's like how Dogecoin is. An
Yeah.
It's like
altcoin.
0.004% of
probably
a penny.
less than
But
that.
like people like Portnoy, like why wouldn't you come out on Twitter and say you're backing something that you put 40? I think he bought like either
He's trying to save his-
$40,000
he's trying to
worth
save
of.
himself or something.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's gonna pump it and then he's gonna sell.
Well, that's what anybody wants to do, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why
Yeah.
wouldn't he do that?
Yeah.
But at some point, like, as like,
I want to pump something and dump it. Like I want to make a bunch of money.
yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't complain if I did.
Yeah.
Right.
But I don't understand. It's, to
at
me,
some
it's
point
just
though,
like,
you're like manipulating the market and stuff, and
yeah.
like the SEC's coming for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Again, it's something else I don't know enough about that, like SEC stuff, like insider trading and all that. Like, I don't understand enough of it to
I
like.
feel like that is insider trading, honestly. Like if you buy a bunch of Bitcoin and then you have the influence to
It's kind
like
of the same thing.
say Elon, like when he tweets about Dogecoin, it like average pump is like 5%. And then he knows that he can pump it and then he can turn around and sell it. And he's buying in such huge amounts that he's making a ton of money.
So
off
maybe,
of it.
maybe that's the benefit to having a centralized currency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and plus, like the other part of that is like when you look at like Elon tweeting, like there's no like you can't put like hashtag sarcasm at the bottom. Like there's a lot of stuff that he says that's like sarcasm or supposed to be like taken as like being funny.
Yeah.
But like people like come after him about stuff that's like the whole freaking SNL thing where he was on SNL. People had problems with that, like came after him for that. And it's like, what do you have a problem with him being on a
Yeah.
funny show for? And it's just people are I think most of it's like a hack job by the media.
Yeah.
Because like you never hear anything about Bezos or anything coming out like, oh, he's corrupt and this and that. Like last week, everybody was talking about his super mega yacht or whatever.
Yeah.
And nobody once was like, well, why doesn't he give some of that money to his workers? But if it was Elon and they were like, oh, he flew to Turks and Caicos, they'd be like all over him about it. I don't know.
Sounds like you got a little crush on Mr. Musk.
I do. I'm a little,
You want to take him on a date?
I stand.
You want me to message him
Yeah, do it.
on Twitter?
Speaking of taking things to the moon,
Take me to the moon.
what about
yeah.
aliens? This has been a crazy year. This past year, we were in the middle of a pandemic, and the government literally came out and said that, like, not necessarily aliens, but UFOs exist, and nobody's batted an eye at it.
But like, what a crazy time to be alive, to be honest.
Here's my thing on that.
Like the past 3-4 years has just been like pretty exciting.
If the government, like we just watched that clip of like pilots seeing a UFO every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's true, then why are normal civilians not seeing them every day? Because they're not.
So-
the only people that see them every day are pilots
There
that
have
work for the
been
government.
there have been like more UFO sightings in the past year, but it's also like
Reported UFO sightings.
reported UFO sightings. But there's also like there is something to be said of like the military seeing it, because like if I'm coming to a new planet, I'm not gonna be like, oh, what's Joe Bob doing in Alabama? I'll be like, all right, what are the capabilities of the military? Like, what are they? Are they gonna view me as hostile? Or are they gonna just start shooting me out of the sky? But like, so the government's come out and released these things, and like I've seen some of the videos of like the craft or what were they calling it? It's APUs or something now.
UPA, unidentified or
Aerial
UAP,
phenomenon.
Aerial phenomenon.
Yeah, UAP. That's the new term. It's not UFO, it's UAP.
So it might not even be an aircraft.
Yeah, it might not be, but like the way, so I've like went back and like watched some of the fighter pilot videos and stuff, and like the rate at which these things increase in speed, decrease in speed, change altitude, like dive into the ocean and stuff, like just disappear. And they're seeing these things every day.
But
Like something's going on. It's not just a weather balloon or whatever.
my opinion and like how I feel about it is like I won't believe it until I see it with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
Because like if you can create an NFT and sell it for $50,000, somebody can edit some sketchy area like aircraft footage to make it look like there's like a little dot or a blur.
Why would the military do that?
Because they're covering things up.
Because they're part of the government. And I mean, like,
But why would they release? Here's the thing: is if it was like if the government was doing it, why would the government come out and say, "Hey, now there's UFOs," but we don't know anything about it? They would just keep that stuff tight.
well,
Is our
if they're wanting to control people more, then they could like say that kind of stuff to like frighten people. Because, I mean, I think it would be. I don't think aliens are going to come and like destroy our planet because there's too much valuable stuff here to any other like species. I would think. I would personally think
it's not valuable
at least
to them.
enslave us, don't destroy us.
You ever have a cream soda?
But like, I mean, it's just like I feel like the government could want to manipulate the public's view on it to like have their desired response that they want.
I think it's a distraction from other things that the government's doing. You've got, I mean, just think about like the whole gas shortage like a week ago. You hardly saw that in the news and stuff because they
I feel like that was
distract.
all over the news.
I didn't see it on anything, but also I have cable, so
Yeah.
I just
Did
use
you
Twitter.
watch the news?
I use Twitter for.
I
all
didn't
my
see it on the
news.
news at all, but I didn't watch the news.
I
either,
use
so
Twitter
I
for all
don't
my
know.
news, and it wasn't on Twitter.
So you know what the crazy thing about that whole pipeline thing was? Is they shut the pipeline down after so they didn't have to shut the pipeline down. The system that they interrupted was the billing system for the pipeline. Yeah. So the pipeline shut itself off because there was no way for them to calculate, all right, this much money is going in, this much money is coming out. And so they shut everything down on their own just to make sure that they can make a profit.
Yeah.
That's fat
I mean,
cat.
it's business.
Yeah.
But
business.
yeah, the UFO. I'm with Zach. Like I'm not gonna believe. I honestly.
I'm not saying there's aliens.
Honestly,
I
like,
am,
I'm
but-
not completely against the idea. Like, you know, who knows if there is something else out there? But I think Photoshop. I mean, you can literally do anything on a computer now.
But if it was,
and I haven't seen a clear video either. It's all like fuzzy, like a little gray dot just goes back.
yeah,
and
well, that's
forth.
the from the military planes. They
Okay,
don't have,
well,
they don't have.
If our
video cameras
military
all over it.
planes can only pick up that good of a camera footage, then aliens should take.
They don't
the
Yes.
have
planet.
cameras. They don't have cameras on those
What do you mean
jets.
they don't have?
What is it, the
cameras?
fighter pilot
bull
with his
crap.
Snapchat out
Yeah,
filming it?
yeah.
No,
What's he
it's
filming with?
it's the video. You're talking about the little like fuzzy screen, and it's like one
Yes.
color, and then one. There's
yeah.
like
You just see a
Yes.
little light dot, and it just
yeah.
like. Psh, psh.
That's from the only video camera that's on the plane.
So you're
which
saying
is-
on a $2 billion F-14, there's one camera on there?
yeah.
But then
That's exactly
but,
what
then,
I'm saying.
but then the military has drones that can literally sit up there and count how many eyebrows Riley has.
Yeah, yeah. I see.
I don't
It
know
just
if they
doesn't make
can.
sense.
Yes.
The UAPs are not real. It is an absolute government conspiracy. They want you to believe it because they're doing something else.
Here's what something that's funny is. So you're talking about like the government has these like satellites or whatever that can count how many.
The Reaper drones.
Dude,
Yeah,
you can
so
literally
hold on.
think
Let me-
about Desert Storm. They flew those drones over Iraq and could like see like
Desert
others.
Storm.
Isn't that the Iraq war?
Desert Storm was like
That's what I'm saying.
the 80s and 90s.
Okay, well, think about the movie Black Hawk Down. You see over there, and there's infrared, and you can see like 12 people, and they're like da 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 da. Like you can't
The
see that
infrared
on a-
cameras. Yeah, that's the same exact. But you're also talking about a movie that
It's
isn't.
based off of true.
But they weren't showing the like.
Hey,
the
continue
actual
what you're
footage.
saying,
Okay.
Mr. Miyagi.
So I saw a video the other day that was talking about. It was a military guy who he was like just came out of Afghanistan, and he was talking about people are all scared about the shot for the COVID because they're putting a tracker in you, right? this guy was saying, he was like, I was in like elite forces in the military, and we had GPS on all of it. Like each one of us had GPS, and then there was like some other like system that they have for like all the pilots and like all the tanks and stuff. That's like a separate GPS system. He said that never worked. He was like, we literally like there were 2 teams that were on the ground that started bombing each other because they couldn't figure out who was which and where they were at. It's like, so you mean to tell me like the government, like this specialized like equipment that never works, and then now we're going to start putting it in people all of a sudden? It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
So what you're kind of saying is like the government probably doesn't have as advanced technology as you think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But Elon Musk can make a car that can drive itself and can literally
like,
show a camera of the other cars.
That's to me, that's like, that's not as crazy.
I'm not buying your.
And Tony Stark can build Iron Man in a
Tony
cave.
Stark, yeah. Here's the video. We'll listen to the video real quick, and then y'all can know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I get
As
it.
an Afghanistan veteran, I cannot get over the ignorance of people thinking they put trackers in the vaccines. When I was in Afghanistan, we could barely find each other.
Let me see
We
this
had
guy's
Blue Force
face.
tracker computer units in every truck. We had Dagger GPS units that we carried on a platoon level, and they never worked. Our government has a military budget larger
Excuse
than
me?
the next 7 countries combined, but they can't find a way to reliably figure out where troops are in combat. But yeah, Chad, they definitely have a satellite network following you around to find out how long you spent at that Arby's. Gotta find out how long Brian's been at the Tasty Squeeze. Way more important than figuring out where our combat troops are. When I was there, one of our companies nearly mortared another one of our companies because they couldn't figure out who they were. But yeah, they definitely took that technology that already isn't working, microized, made small so they could stick them in regular Americans. Get over yourself.
I don't buy that guy at all. He
Well, the
looks like a
vaccine-
Looney Tune. Are you kidding me?
And it's on TikTok.
Yeah, that dude looks like
There's nobody legitimate on TikTok. They're all just everybody's just making dumb videos.
That dude looks
Yes.
like he just
His
piped
next-
a bong and
His
then
next video, he's doing the Renegade
yeah.
for sure. But like the vaccine is not
Josh, you're a
from
sheep.
the government though. I know it's approved. What'd you say?
He said I'm a sheep.
He just believes everything he sees
On TikTok.
on TikTok. If it's TikTok, it's true.
I've wanted to slap you in the back of the neck so many times in this podcast, and you're leaving it wide
Okay,
open for me.
with the vaccine though,
Yeah.
like the vaccine is approved by the CDC or FDA, which is not a government organization, correct?
Which one?
I don't know, but like basically, I'm just trying. Like the vaccine,
I don't know.
The
Just
vaccine
keep
is
talking.
not. The vaccine is not produced by the government.
Nah.
So like, I don't see why people are thinking that there is a tracker in the.
Yeah, it's just crazy people.
My issue is like, has the thing had enough like testing and stuff? Like, who's to say like?
Yeah.
Who's to say that every like? I mean, this is just totally hypothetical, and I don't want to offend anyone. But like, if you're a female and you got the vaccine, in 5 years, if you have a kid, if your kid comes out with some kind of,
That was
you
one reason
never
we
know.
didn't get the vaccine.
You never
My
know.
wife didn't get the vaccine just because they don't know the effects that it has
Yeah.
on that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's a
I
bunch
still
of
don't
what
buy
ifs.
that. Every cop in the world, in the country, has a camera on their chest. I don't buy that there's not a better camera on an F-16.
Well, it's okay that you don't buy that, but it's the truth.
No, it's not. It's not the
It's
truth.
the truth.
There's better
telling
cameras.
you.
There's satellite
Not
images.
on-
Now,
if those F-15s,
video
no.
clips are like radar clips and not actually like video clips, then I would believe it.
They're
Because radar
video
doesn't
clips,
show.
but it's what's the the like it sees like heat signatures instead of like, oh my gosh, it's a FLIR camera. It's not a video camera. It's a heat mapping camera.
Yeah.
They don't because if they were like, that's what the jet pilot is looking at when he's looking at stuff.
Yeah.
Because if it was just, I mean, he can just look around.
Are
like this and see
other government pilots seeing these UAPs?
I think there were reports of like the UK, and then I know there were some astronauts from like Europe or something that said something about it too. Recently.
They landed on the moon and they were on the
That
other
said
side.
They were like, as they were like ascending or something, they looked out the window and saw something fall on them.
Oh, I've seen that one
Yeah.
before. That's
It's-
on that Netflix documentary.
I haven't seen any Netflix documentary.
That's on
They
there,
talk
though.
about it.
Yeah, they talked about that. There's
also-
a good Netflix show about them, but it's just all like, I don't know.
It's kind of weird too to me that there's a factor as big as an unknown species, UFOs, that there cannot be a consensus across like governments in the world. Like there has been a consensus and an agreement about coronavirus and the severity of that amongst.
That took a long time. That
Yeah, it took a long time.
A lot
maybe
of dead
a year,
people.
But like, how long have UFOs been reported? Like, I just don't. And like,
Yeah.
if the government is saying, okay, we've seen all these reportings, they are real. Like, show us Area 51.
Well, so
What's all the secrecy about that?
What I've heard about Area 51 is there's no. So I've actually heard this is really interesting. So I've heard that Area 51 is nothing more than just like government testing new weapons and stuff. It's not some like super secret organization that like is like trying to conceal UFOs or anything. But it's like also if I'm the government, like I'm not wanting everybody to know what I'm testing or what I'm doing.
Understandable.
But this is hearsay, so like can't completely trust it. But one of my buddies growing up, his dad worked for the Air Force, and one of his buddies that he worked with in the Air Force was at one time assigned to Area 51. And whenever he would like try and get me to talk about it or say something, he would shut up. He wouldn't do anything.
Like they won't give you a straight up answer.
Yeah, but here's the crazy thing is like one night my friend's dad was like, I'm just gonna get him drunk, and then like we're gonna talk about it. And so he got him like plastered drunk. They're sitting there, and he was like, "Hey man, like well they actually got out there," and he like immediately sobered up, and he was like, I cannot
Must
tell
have been a
you. I
government
can't
ship.
say anything about it. And he was like, nah, nobody's going to know. And he was like, no, they'll know.
Trackers.
So, yeah, it's government shit.
Trackers.
So
Maybe.
last week, Zach and I went on a bachelor party in Las Vegas, and the guy
GPS trackers.
well, the guy that I sat beside on the plane there, he was ex-military,
Really?
and he said that he was stationed at Area 51 some, and he was the same way. I was like, oh, because it was like we were literally passing over Arizona when he mentioned it. And I was like, and he talked to me the entire flight. It was very annoying, but I was like, you haven't even mentioned that. And he's like, well, yeah, there's a reason I haven't. It's very confidential. And I was like, well, are there any aliens out there? And he said, he's like, that's the one thing. He's like, no. He said, it's a testing ground but he said there's he's like highly classified stuff out there.
And if I had like a big like nuclear weapons testing ground or just weapons testing ground, people were like, well, why can't we just like walk up to it and see it? It's like, because we don't want to get you blown up or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're running
Can't
around
tour
out in the
military
desert
base.
and then
How
all of a
weird
sudden,
is it that it is so secretive, but the fact that everyone knows that it's so secretive?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird to me.
Well, it's like the
But
Illuminati.
didn't they test the
I mean,
We all
it's just
know
like
about it.
that it's public fact
Yeah.
that is a testing area. Imagine if there are so many other places that you don't even know about.
Yeah. Well, it's
know?
the old adage like loose lips sink ships.
Yeah.
Like all it takes is one person
It's like
in that program.
It's like
to
our
be
Vegas trip.
It's gotta be secretive.
don't freaking talk about it.
I was my
That-
whole anticipation for that trip was to take some really cool picture in Vegas and use that as the caption to make everyone on edge. And we
What
didn't-
happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, the loose lips sink ships
Oh,
type
really?
thing. And then everyone would have been so worried and so
Yeah.
scared. Every guy on that trip that had a girlfriend would be so worried. And we didn't have a cool enough picture.
Speaking
I
of
took like 8
girlfriendless people,
pictures.
Huh?
speaking of girlfriendless people, if you are single and you listen to this podcast, hit my boy up.
Hit me up.
Zach up.
Girlfriendless people?
Either one.
So that means men hit Zach up.
Yeah.
That's what you're
Oh,
saying.
no.
You said girlfriendless people.
I was
But-
saying, speaking of girlfriendless people, if you're single,
You know what?
Me.
You want to hear something crazy too? The guy that I sat beside on the plane, most stereotypical Vegas thing I've ever heard. It was Mother's Day weekend that we went. He was leaving his wife and kids to go see his girlfriend in Vegas, and like
I hope his wife doesn't listen to this podcast.
she knew about it. He had 2 phones.
Oh my god!
The girlfriend was on one phone. The wife was on the other. Like, at least he told me she knew about it, and she wasn't happy that he was going out there. But
That's crazy.
I was just like, wow.
God must have some money. Must have a
He
lot of money.
said he owns
Was he
his own
from?
business.
Was he coming from Birmingham?
Yeah, he's from Birmingham. Like, he told me a lot of things about his like personal life. I'm like, man, I live 45 minutes away from you.
There's probably a guy there's probably someone that
Listens
sees
to
this
Yeah.
podcast or will see it shared or listen to this clip.
And they know exactly who that is.
Yeah,
or at
maybe.
least they know somebody who knows somebody.
Yep.
I won't say the business name or his name, but
Was it Blends?
no. I was sad, honestly. I was like, golly, your poor wife.
Yeah.
But his exact words were, she doesn't have to work. It was like, she doesn't have to work, so we have an agreement that I do what I want to do. And I was like, geez.
Dang.
All right. But
That's rough. Well,
An interesting guy.
it's been fun, guys.
You're cutting us off just like that. We have so much to talk about.
What
still.
is it? An hour and 20 minutes?
We're like an hour and 10 right now.
That timer was
It's pretty-
at like 12 minutes before we started.
It's pretty long. I mean, it's fun though.
Yeah. It's
Super
fun to
fun.
like, you get like deep into stuff, and then like we had like 4 things that we didn't talk about that we were supposed to talk about. But
this
like,
is my therapy session, bro.
yeah, that's why I told Lee, I said, if we ever stop this podcast, we're just going to have to meet like once a week to just sit down. Like, we'll set everything up and just talk.
Or just like,
Just
or just be
leave it
like,
there.
oh, I don't know if we want to do it this way. Just bring us back, man.
Yeah. Well, you guys are always welcome on.
Fresh set
You've been
of
on
eyes,
like
fresh
15
set of-
times. So,
Yeah.
I've been on
I think
3 times.
I think Derek was the best
Oh, the wife is here.
second
Yeah,
of
she's
the best
good.
other
Oh, we
guest.
gotta run. Shh.
Derek was the
We'll leave the
second
back
best
door.
gift ever. Guest ever.
Guest, yeah.
Yeah. Also, to answer your question, sectional couches are very functional.
I feel like they're not.
They are. They're extremely functional because I can seat, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6 people on this couch.
Well, I guess it also depends like where you're putting them, but like in my experience, they fit in probably 20% of places that you would like to
Yeah,
have a
it fits
couch.
really well in this space because it's up against 2 walls.
Yeah.
But if it was up against like no walls, it would take up more space than it'd be worth, I think. But I
Yeah.
like my sectional. Comment if you like sectionals.
Go out and buy a sectional.
Go out and buy a sectional. Yeah. Our new house will have 2 sectionals. So
Wow. This one being one of them.
yeah.
Is this y'all's main living room?
Mhm.
Wow. It's a good little
Wow.
spot.
Wow.
Wow.
It is good.
Anyways, thanks guys for coming on.
Buy
appreciate
Dogecoin.
it. Buy Dogecoin. Pump it up so I can sell my shares that I'm at 63 cents right
No,
now.
come buy a Blends bowl. Like,
Yeah.
forget
Oh, yeah.
Dogecoin.
Go buy
Blends-
Blends bowl.
Yeah, and pump Doge.
Blends and Doge.
Both.
Maybe we should just start taking Doge. We probably could.
I should say start taking Bitcoin for sure.
I
And
think
on that note,
I still have a
fake stuff
believer
outta
in
here.
crypto.
Thanks for
All right, guys.
listening, everybody.
Say what Lee says. Thanks for having us inside your heart.
You say it.
No, if you
It
want,
sounds like Chris Hodges.
hey, if you want, if I don't know who's, it's probably going to be all the regular listeners that listen to this. But if you want to hear more from me or Riley, comment below and let the host of the podcast know that you want more of us.
Zach's just
Hey,
trying
man.
to start a podcast without having to start a podcast.
I want to start my own podcast, but it's that thing of I just can't get
you just
over the
gotta
hump.
do it, bro. Just gotta do it. Stop
And
being a pansy.
I don't want to do it by myself, and I haven't found
That's
anyone
understandable.
that matches my energy to do a podcast with.
All right. Well, if you are single, hit Zach up. If you want to start a podcast, hit Zach
Hit me
up.
up.
If you're single and you want to start a podcast,
Hit
Zach up.
Maybe
We can talk
we
about-
start a show where we have a single girl come on a podcast with Zach, and they have like a date on the podcast.
it's not a bad idea.
I could
Put
be
like
something.
a wall right here. That
Yeah.
way we get see. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm into it.
You
That'd be
did
cool.
the
That might be a thing.
Bachelor
The
with
quarantine
your friend,
bachelor.
right?
Yeah. We
How'd
did
that go?
Eh.
Did he end up with
No.
anyone?
That's not what it's about. It's about the fun.
Was there any drama involved?
Nah, not
That's
really.
the thing. You got to create the drama.
Yeah. We might start a podcast with Zach where we just set him up with random people.
That'd be fun.
You would have to commit to a whole season,
Okay.
and then
How many episodes? 10?
That's a
10
lot.
episodes is not bad. 6 episodes.
So we do 6 or 10 episodes, and you can't stop in the middle of the season.
Okay.
Like if you found somebody that was like A+ on the first one, you can't stop.
That's a lot. That's a lot to pick that many people that you think.
We'd have to go to Tinder.
That's fine. Hey,
no,
we're
probably
probably
not.
we're not picking 100 or 10s every time.
Oh God.
It's not about looks, dude. It's about what your connection is going to be with them.
On that.
This might seriously be an idea, and I'm like pondering it now.
I think it's a really good idea, but
I just need more
on
help.
that note, I'm out of here.
See y'all.
All right. Well,
Thanks for
quite
listening.
literally dropping the mic.